So for those of you who are joining today, my name is Laurin Bieker. I am the account executive here at Selman & Company, and we are the insurance administrator on the TRICARE Supplement Plan that's going to be offered to you through the carrier called the Hartford. So I'm going to give a little bit of a TRICARE 101. I know pretty much everybody who is on this call right now is a professional at this. This is mainly just for those who are trying to see how the supplement's going to work with the plan that you're on. So when we're looking at the plans, obviously there's active duty, there's reservists, and then we also have the retirees. So the corporate TRICARE supplement plan that we're offering you today is something that will help alleviate those costs that you have with your retiree TRICARE plan. And the reason why I say that, select prime and retired reserves on the retiree side all have a catastrophic cap or maximum out-of-pocket benefit of $3,000 or higher. So looking at it from the Select perspective, just a recap, I like to review Select because it's the plan that's had the most changes over the last couple years. It's now called Select instead of formerly TRICARE Standard. You do have to enroll in the plan, but there's still no enrollment fee. That I'm crossing my fingers it stays that way. But it does have that PPO feel. So you'll have your copay in-network and you'll have your cost share out-of-network. Prime is still pretty consistent, has the Prime network, it has the point of service if you choose to go outside into a civilian scenario. Still a $3,000 cap for the Prime, but if you're using point of service, it's not covered under the $3,000. It is only available within, the 40-mile radius of a military base. And then if you use the point of service, you have that cost share, the deductible, and the excess charges. Retired reserves, again, built very similar to Select. It does have a higher catastrophic cap. With the exception of the enrollment fee, it's pretty much identical in structure to Select. They have the copay in-network, they have the cost share and excess charges and deductible out-of-network. Okay. So that's just a high-level TRICARE 101. Again, you guys are all professionals at that, or you know which plan you're on, so I shouldn't go too far in depth with that. All right, so we're looking at now the TRICARE supplement eligibility. So as I mentioned, retirees, anyone who served for 20 years in the military or 20 credible years. So if you're on that TRICARE retired reserves plan. If you're not eligible for Medicare, once you turn 65, at that point, you are eligible for TRICARE for life and Medicare. So your TRICARE is essentially going to turn into a free Medicare supplement. And in that case, you really don't need the TRICARE supplement. So that will kind of act as that secondary coverage for you. Military retirees, retired reservists, spouses, dependent children are still able to be covered by the TRICARE and TRICARE supplement. All right, so I like to touch on the plan features now. As a company plan, you're going to be enrolling in one TRICARE supplement plan, but it's going to work differently depending on the TRICARE plan that you're on. So when you go into your enrollment, you are going to select one TRICARE plan. There is no pre-existing conditions, which means your coverage is going to begin automatically. You don't have any waiting period whatsoever. Guaranteed issue as long as you're participating on TRICARE, which just means if you're on those plans, you're accepted. It enables Prime users to use that point of service, that civilian provider network, okay? As I mentioned before, it does cover cost shares, copays, excess charges that TRICARE leaves behind. Now, I typically get a lot of questions about specialist visits, chiropractors, oncologists. What I can say is the supplement is a secondary coverage to pick up what the TRICARE leaves behind. So if TRICARE does not cover any portion of the first part of the claim, the supplement will not replace the coverage and act on its behalf. So it does have to be initially filed with TRICARE first, and then the supplement will pick up the leftovers, I'll say. It does cover prescription copays at 100%. So previously in 2018 was the last time they increased everyone's prescription copays. They did do it again this year. So anyone who has the supplement or has had it and enrolling in it, you're not going to see any change in those copays because our supplement reimburses those at 100%. And it does have a continuation of coverage, which I will actually touch on in a little bit. I want to break it down now, and based off the plan that you have with TRICARE, here's how the supplement's going to reimburse. So that third slide that we kind of briefly touched on all three of those TRICARE plans, here's how the supplement will work. So if you're in network and select, this was that PPO plan, doesn't have an enrollment fee, it's going to cover all of your copays. If you're on the out-of-network side of it, it's going to cover all of your cost share, excess charges, which is essentially balance billing by the providers, and then 100% of your TRICARE Select deductible. So you're going to have full wraparound coverage with Select. With TRICARE Prime, it's not going to cover your enrollment fee because that's what you pay for it to be on TRICARE. But on the Prime network side itself, it is going to reimburse all those co-pays up to the legal limit, so you don't have to worry about meeting that $3,000 cap. The point of service piece, this is probably the biggest part and why people say, well, if I have Prime, why do I need the supplement? If you want to go out of network for any reason, or a referral, or just you want to go see the best of the best, if they're a TRICARE provider, which means they're not essentially just Prime Network, but they accept TRICARE, we're going to reimburse that 50% cost share for you. Now, if you remember, point of service is not covered under the catastrophic cap, so without a supplement, you'd be paying 50% on and on and on. Our supplement is going to reimburse all of that cost share for you, so it does give you flexibility to essentially make you have access to that civilian provider. And it is going to reimburse half of the deductible as well. So instead of $300 or $600, it's going to be the $150 or $300. With TRICARE Retired Reserves, again, it's built very similar to Select, with the exception of the monthly enrollment fee, but it is going to cover all of those in-network co-pays, the out-of-network cost share, excess charges, and that deductible. Okay, so I'm going to take a little pause here. Now that we're on this plan, most of you know what these plans are with TRICARE. Does anybody have questions on how the supplement's going to work with your plan?
This is Larry. I have a question.
Sure, go ahead, Larry.
So I've been on the company's health benefits insurance package, and I was using TRICARE Prime Retiree kind of as my secondary insurance. Would it make sense for me to switch to TRICARE Select and get this supplement?
I'm going to tell you, I can't really tell you what would make sense to switch on Prime and Select versus a supplement. I will say that if you evaluate the two plans side by side, TRICARE.mil is probably where I would start. You can actually do a side-by-side comparison of Select and Prime. And then if you want to consider the supplement as well, yes, Select will have 100% wraparound with the Select plan. With Prime, it's going to cover that 50% cost share. So I'm assuming that, Larry, with the group health care plan, you wanted to at least have some outside access. You didn't want to have to stick to that Prime provider. With Prime and the supplement even, you can use the civilian provider as well. So depending on what you and your family come up with as your base plan, as your base TRICARE plan, the supplement is still going to provide you probably a lot more flexibility using that TRICARE plan that you ended up deciding on.
Okay.
Now, what I will say is we are only the supplement, so I can't really advise you on which TRICARE plan to pick. What I would probably do is visit that TRICARE.mil website. That's a great place to start because you can do the side-by-sides. And then once you decide on a base plan, then the supplement will pick up the rest for you.
Okay, thank you.
Good question.
And Laurin, that's something that, once, like if Larry's digging into that and still has more questions, they're able to reach out to you directly for some more kind of individualized comparison. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Please feel free.
Great.
Okay. Any other questions about how your TRICARE plan will work with the supplement? Okay, I have a couple more I'm going to jump into. When we're talking about Select, I did a cost analysis illustration for you. So when you're looking at the annual enrollment fee of Select, there is none, so that's a 0. I chose it from the employee only and the employee plus family evaluation. The annual cost of a supplement for the employee only is $67.50 per month. And for the 12 months, it comes to $810. The supplement deductible, there is a supplement deductible of $100 for an individual and $200 for a family of 2 or more. So Denise got some information out to you earlier between Friday and today. There was a rate schedule that included the rates for you. Just keep in mind there is that supplement deductible of $100 for an individual and $200 for a family of 2 or more. So annually, what an employee only can budget on Select is $910 for the year. And that's not saying that every individual is going to need the supplement. If you look at it from the perspective that you only see your provider once a year and you're not seeing a specialist on a regular basis, most likely the supplement's not the best decision for you right now. But I would say that if you tend to go to your providers quite a bit, or you're seeing a specialist, or you're on a medication that is definitely getting you to the top of that catastrophic cap or even above the 910, the supplement might be something to look at. Same with the family evaluation. For $178.50 per month, it's $21.42. Adding in the $200 deductible brings you to $23.42. Again, that's what your family can budget for the whole year, and you don't have to worry about making up that net. So if you have kids going away to college, give them the TRICARE card, give them the supplement card. They're playing football and they tear their ACL, they can go to a civilian provider and their supplement's going to take care of whatever's left behind. Gives you peace of mind and flexibility. The inside here, in between here, is the family and spouse rate. It's going to be the $132.50 per month. So when you look at that evaluation, that's how you'll be able to determine that cost. Now I chose Select because it was kind of the one with the wraparound coverage that I could definitely give you a full cost. If you're looking at for the TRICARE Prime piece, I would factor in the annual enrollment fee that they have, and I would also factor in half of the deductible. So it is going to pick up the cost share, it is going to pick up the co-pays, it is going to pick up half of the deductible. So you want to factor into here, just add in TRICARE deductible leftover, because our supplement is going to pick up half of the TRICARE, and that will give you your annual costs for the year. Okay. So any questions on this illustration here? All right. And jump into the continuation of coverage. So this is, as I was mentioning earlier, you can take it with you when you leave. It's actually not a COBRA benefit. If you're no longer employed or you no longer work for WRMI, you can take the same plan with you, the same rate. The only difference is you will drop off the company's pre-tax deduction, and you'll switch to, you'll get an offer letter asking you if you'd like to continue it on your own, and then you can make that decision and either do monthly, quarterly, annual payments on it, and you just pay Selman & Company directly versus having it deducted from your paycheck. Okay. This next slide is an example of where I have those links for you to visit. TRICARE.mil is that one that I referenced earlier a couple times. If you have questions on your TRICARE plan, that's a great place to start. If you have questions on if TRICARE is going to cover the first part of the claim, you can visit mytricare.com. DEERS is something I always recommend that everybody update. If you don't know what this is, you should know what this is. It's the Defense and Eligibility Enrollment Reporting System. If you have a new birth, or if something comes up with a marriage or a divorce, if you still are trying to file for divorce, or if you have a new spouse that you're trying to get on your supplement or your TRICARE coverage, I strongly recommend updating DEERS, because I run into a lot of circumstances where I have a second wife trying to ask questions, but unfortunately she calls DEERS and the previous wife is still on their TRICARE. So I do strongly recommend updating that with addresses, with new marriages, new adoptions, births, anything that happens to change to make your family have that coverage. Okay. The TRICARE.mil changes website. It seems to change almost every year. Something about the plans will update. The nice thing about our supplement is we do cover the co-pays at 100%. We cover the cost share, as I mentioned in that one slide. And we do cover prescriptions at 100%. So when they make those changes in specific dollar amounts, you can feel rest assured that that supplement is still going to keep up with that plan for you. And then when you enroll in the supplement, you are going to have access to our member services team. So you have our customer service phone number that can take any questions about claims, policy coverage dates, who's on your plan, and then you also have access to email them and get some background on the claims and so forth. So that's really all about what the supplement is. I'm going to take another minute and see if there are any additional questions. All right, I'm going to open the floor up to Denise to see if there's anything in addition she'd like to add, or if there's anybody else on the call from the senior leadership team that if they'd like to add as well.
I think for us, we want to thank you guys for attending for sure, and we hope you take a good look at the benefit. I'm not super familiar with TRICARE, but this looks like it really covers a lot, which would be nice for you to have. So take a look at that. Also, if you have any questions, you have kind of specifics you want to walk through, please reach out to me, and I'll get you hooked up with Laurin, and we'll get you, get you the answers that you need so you can make a decision. So same thing. If anyone has any other questions, let us know. This information there was a link to it, and also stuff's out on eHub as well as we get it. We're putting things out on eHub so that you'll be able to get to them. So let me know if you need anything, and thank you for coming.
Thank you, Denise. So I'll get this ready for you in the form of a link, and I'll pass it over to you probably by end of business today for you. Okay?
All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Stay safe.